Hello, hello, hello. It's early in the morning, and I just thought I'd check the 64 out. I've had it running through the diagnostics. Um, hmm, for probably like 12 hours. So let's turn on the monitor. Let's see where we're at. So it has run through 789 times, and so far, with a new PLA in there, it has yet to flag anything with any sort of error. So that is good. Let's see if the SID chip is still happy. Seems okay. That's 790 run throughs. So this has gone well. It has indeed. Okay, I'm going to tell a couple of thoughts, stories, and things. There's been a lot of people around for a long time who've been into the world of Commodore. Sadly, some of them are getting. I'm going to touch this thing. Why is that doing that weird thing? Anyway, some of them, of course, are getting old and dying. Some are not even that old and they're dying. And sometimes things end up on the market and through, like, I don't know, those cleanup places and other places and other things, and where people really don't know what they have. Anyway, it's tragic that people are either going to nursing homes or dying, or their relatives don't know what to do. But this is why you should watch Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji and whatever it is in your local area, because sometimes things get put up there and they're like, that's like, it's not the eBay prices and the other things. It's like a way to get back in. It's also, and I don't know who, but someone was commenting that, really one of the best ways to get um, replacement chips and parts is to find another old machine and take a chance. But once again, it all comes down to money. I believe I told a story recently about a fellow I saw who was selling an SX64. And word has it that a little old man that was probably going into a nursing home said, oh yeah, you can have that. It doesn't work. And he put it up online for the grand sum of $50. And I happened to see it, and I said, fine, dandy. And I wanted to go right then, right there, and get it. And he said, oh, tomorrow. And then by the next day, he was like, oh, well, other people are offering me more. So I said, okay, what do you want? And he said, well, maybe I'll get it fixed. And which is all like probably not true. But, I was kind of irked by this. But see, you have to be careful what you say, or not. Well, yes, careful what you say and how you say it and all that. Like, I was irked because we had a deal. He got his asking price, which I know was way below what it was worth, but still, it was like, okay, $50. And does it work? Who knows? It could be like ruined. It could have been sitting somewhere and got wet. It could have been, hit by lightning. Who knows? But I was willing to take a chance, and even for a bit more, I would have taken a chance. But then he's like pulling all, oh, I might fix it and stuff. So I did send him a message that was very, well, there wasn't a whole lot of room for misinterpretation. It was polite. That's the good thing about when you're online and you're upset with someone, be polite. And there's a fellow I knew long ago through TPUG, and he and his daughter would come to the meetings, um, and he said, And I'll never forget this. He said, it's better that somebody think they're a fool than you tell them. And I've used that many times over the years where you write something and nowhere does it say they're a fool, or nowhere does it say what they've done was idiotic, or, it doesn't use bad words. It's just by the time they finish reading it, they think that, they might look for where it is that you used the words that would, of course, they could potentially point to and say, oh, look, you used bad words. You used bad words. But there's no bad words. Anyway, so I did write to him and I basically said, look, we had a deal. And out of anybody around, and I know there's other people around who could help him fix it, I said I might be one who would. But you know what? I'm not going to spend one more second on this. We had a deal. You've gone back on the deal. I was ready to come yesterday. And I'm out. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want. That's it. That's all. We're finished. We're finished. We're finished. And it wasn't exactly that. It was more eloquent than that. But it was just made clear of the disappointment. And you know what? I did something I don't normally do. I think it was on Marketplace. I did actually report him. I did. And it didn't really fit a category, but I picked the closest possible one. Anyway, so I don't know what happened. And I'm done with it. Done. Done, 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 done. Who knows? Maybe I'll bump into somebody at the World of Commodore on December 2nd and 3rd at the Admiral INN in Mississauga, Ontario, who will say, hey, yeah, I got that 64. And who knows what's wrong with it? Who knows? But anyway, so there are people who are getting these things through various means who really don't know what they are. For example, this 64 and the disk drive that's still in the car that I really need to bring in, they wanted $70. I said, okay. So, and for one bad PLA chip, and more importantly, Mr. Nixon, this top, which is not at all matching, which is from a Silver Label 64, is well worth what I paid for. Also, this machine has everything of significance in sockets. It was a good deal. Now, do I need another Commodore 64? No, not really. But at the right price, it's good. A while ago, I got a Big 20 that doesn't work, and a bunch of other things, and I think it was $25. And there was another thing I saw listed. It was, let me think about this. I think it was a 64C, two disk drives. One was a 1541, one was a 1581. There was something else. I forget. Anyway, it was all ended up being $100 for the whole works. Oh, there was also a 1701 or 1702 that may or may not work, and I brought it in, but I haven't tested it yet. I should test it. They generally don't fail, but they do. Sometimes they do. So if you're interested in getting back into the world or adding to your World of Commodore, December 2nd and 3rd, you just gotta keep watching. And if you go on, as I said, Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace or whatever it is in the world, wherever it is you are, where people put things, do a search, save the search. If it'll notify you immediately when something else comes up that fits that search, do that. And just be ready to move quickly if something comes up that is of interest. There was recently, maybe in the last 6 weeks or so, somebody way out, I think it was in like Kitchener, Waterloo area or whatever, was giving away an old pet. I think it was an 8032 or a 4032 or whatever. It definitely had the big screen. And I thought, I just happened to see the ad like right after, and I said, okay, hold on. Now, I had hoped that a relative of mine could have picked it up, but it wasn't possible. So I reached out to another fellow out that way, and really it was one of those things where I would have liked to have had it. I didn't need it, but I just, once my relative could not pick it up, then I just said, okay, well, I got to make sure that somebody gets it who will bring it back to life and do wonderful things, and it won't end up as like e-waste or in some scrap place for $1 a pound or something or other. So anyway, I was able to get in touch, and they quickly made arrangements to pick up this thing. Now, it was not anywhere near perfect, and it probably didn't work, and it will need work, but I know it's gone to a good home where it will be nurtured, and if it can't be saved, then it will be used for parts to save something else. So it's all good. So what I'm saying is there are deals out there still. Is that Penny? No. Oh yeah, it is Penny. Hi, Penny. How you doing? Penny, do you want to come say hello? Anyway, there are deals out there. You just got to be ready and not like if there's something definitely you're wanting, do the search on it. Tell things to tell you when it is. If you have buckets of money, then there's anything that can be found on eBay pretty much from time to time. Still, you got to save the search and keep an eye, and you might have to bid. You might have to. So, don't give up hope. Because I know we all have our regrets on things that we didn't get or things that we didn't bring, and things like there were things that when we moved that I didn't bring here and I should have brought here. And but anyway, they're still out there. And another thing is, of course, where places like thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets. I once bumped into a fellow in a thrift store, and he was looking around at cables and things and stuff, and I just could tell by what he was looking for that he was trying to figure out some way to get something so he could test a Commodore 64 on something. So I did take a leap of faith, and I kind of quizzed him a little bit, and sure enough, he'd found a 64 setup at a flea market. I think the whole thing, which was like a computer and a disk drive and a monitor, was like $50. But it didn't come with a video cable, so he was trying to piece something together through the RF whatever. Anyway, I told him, whoa. Don't, yeah, that might, but nothing in that store was really going to help him. So I kind of pointed him in the right direction of what he really, 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 really needed. And I hope it all worked out. So the deals are out there. They don't come along very often. So you got to be ready. And if it means you got to drive some. Actually, just, a few days ago, well, actually, when I was off on this adventure in Ottawa, I saw a thing come up. And it was more over here, but still not close to me here. And I said, oh, look at that. So I wrote to them, and once again, it was very soon after the ad went up, and it was just a fluke, because I think it was Kijiji, and it really doesn't send out immediate notifications that I know of. Anyway, very quickly, I said, right, fine, dandy. Made the deal, got the money sent over. It's been picked up by a fellow I know who lives in the neighborhood up there, and at some point I will get it. And it consisted of, if I remember rightly, a 64, two 1541s, and an MPS 801, and then cables and things and accessories and stuff. And the grand sum of that deal was $100. Now, once again, it's untested, but I can test it and I can figure out, and parts are good. They are. But like in this case of this, which has now gone through this testing 803 times, it is a happy working. Oh, it was also, remember, it was missing the fuse. So there, for the cost of a fuse and a PLA chip, we're good. And here we have the dead PLA chip. Da-da-da. And I have bent the legs over, and maybe later today it will be the first chip that I glue to my helmet liner that I have the Commodore I Adore My 64 sticker on the front. Which, by the way, that I Adore My 64 sticker I got last year at the World of Commodore. There was a fellow there who had stickers of sorts. And I said, cool. So, you never know what you'll find at the World of Commodore. You never know what you'll find on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace or in the old days, although it's still around, Craigslist. Although I don't think it's used so much. But that, because it's not used so much, is also a place to keep watching because not a whole lot of people check there. Anyway, I often will send people messages. Actually, there was one I sent. I had just, of course, coming back from Ottawa, we'd driven through Kingston, and then the next day I saw an ad for a 1701 or a 1702 in Kingston for the grand sum of $30. And, oh, I feel a sneeze coming. Anyway, I wasn't going to go drive all the way back to Kingston for it, and I have enough monitors. But I did write and say, if it works, you're really asking too little. And he said, well, I'm not sure. I'll have to test it. And anyway, I don't know how it all worked out, but I don't also feel bad advising others of, the value of things, especially if I can't be the one to get them. So I don't know how that all worked out. But, now, had I been driving through Kingston, or if I'd seen the thing through Kingston before I got to Kingston, or the day before, or whatever, I would have said, great, I'll take it. And I would have, assuming we were close to the highway and we had time and everything, and I would have made sure that I said, okay, Kingston, so are you like in Kingston? Are you really like close to the highway? Are you, because we didn't have a whole lot of time. But I would have said, great. And I would have got it for $30 and said, cool. And if it worked, great. And if it didn't, of course, there's always parts. And I'm not the monitor man to fix monitors, but, maybe the case could make another one look better, or maybe the power switch, or other things. Or maybe I would send it to Rudy of Rudy's Retro Intro, who now has all the tools to make sure he doesn't get hurt with monitors. And maybe he would have had a look. Who knows? But anyway, it was not to be. But anyway, I hope it found a good home. I hope they found out if it worked. And I hope maybe they got a little bit more for it. And they didn't have any more stuff. That was the only thing they had. Once again, it was probably something that they inherited from somebody, found somewhere, moved into somewhere, found it tucked away in the basement or the attic or closet. Who knows? Anyway, if you are still wanting to add to your collection of things to make your World of Commodore more complete, do not give up. There is hope. Just, don't be obsessed by it, but just be ready to move quickly when you see something. And generally that often means the best thing is immediately say, fine, I'll send the money, boom, we'll pick it up, we'll work out the rest later. Now the other thing, of course, is if someone has just joined Kijiji today, you never know. I have been burned a couple of times on things where it was fraud, and that's no fun. So, look at people's ratings. If someone has been on Kijiji since 2007 and has a bunch of good ratings and maybe the odd one in there that isn't so great, they're probably quite fine. But, once again, eyes wide open. And if you're at all unsure, either just don't do it or, do the old, okay, we'll meet in a public place and I'll give you the money after I've seen the thing. And the other thing, of course, is if you do send stuff through PayPal, and it turns up to be fraud or something like that, you can always say to PayPal, yo, this was fraud, or, they're better at that. E-transfers will secure things quickly, assuming it's not fraud. E-transfers, once you've sent it, it's pretty much done, and the banks, I don't think, will be very helpful if you write and say, I sent this guy money and he was fraudulent. I don't think they're. So anyway, once again, be careful. But, read the room. And if the deal's not right, the deal's not right. And if the deal's right, then pounce.